Thank you. Yeah. 2/3 of that match was really well done by us. That's a very good team, and I think very well coached. And they've got some really nice players. In the first two sets, we served extremely well and got them out of system, and were able to run some points there. In the third set, they changed their lineup a little bit, which was a good move by them. It was harder to get them out of system and became a little bit more of a challenging set. And I always tell my team, up 2-0 and cruising is the worst place you want to be mentally, and that's kind of where we were going into that third set. And we held on and were able to get a little separation there at the end. A lot of really good performances. Anna was fantastic from the service line, and Sid hit what'd you hit, Sid? 480, 481. Which is spectacular with the amount of swings that she took. So glad to get that match over in 3, and we have a really tough match tomorrow, so we need to prepare for that.
Coach, you talked about needing diversification. We've seen 4 different humans now in the post-match press conference, which is a good sign, right?
Yeah, the first weekend we had 2 players score well. I think this weekend we're closer to 4, which is where we want to be. Kayla hit for crazy numbers last night, and our outsides hit for really good numbers today. You don't want teams to be able to key on just one player, just 2 players. So we have to continue that. We have to get Bella involved a little bit more as well, too. But I feel like we've gotten better every match this year, which is where we want to be.
Anna, can you expand on what Coach Mahoney was talking about regarding the service game in the first 2 sets? You had 5 aces all by yourself, and aside from the aces, you guys really got them out of their rhythm. Can you talk about how important that was to you guys tonight?
Well, I just want to say I'm proud of our team. We really stick to our plan, and we did a fantastic job. Getting out of the system and just executing our plans. We knew where they were going to set every time, and we were just prepared well in defense, and we did a really good job offensively too. So that's why we finished in 3 sets against a really good team.
So you ended up with 6 aces by the time it was all done, which is a career high, and 5 against USC last year. When we were coming in here, I heard you say I could have had more.
Well, yeah, I always think I could have had more, but I'm happy, and I hope to break records soon.
Anna, you mentioned getting Fresno State out of their rhythm. Can you talk a little bit more about how you built rhythm and momentum throughout the game?
Well, when we play, I like to focus on myself more than I like to focus on the other team. I think that's the key. And I was just trying to be in the zone, just seeing where the defense is, or who's the weakest player in serve receive, and just keep doing the good things and focus on the good things.
How important was it for either of the players? How important was it to keep the momentum going from last night? Obviously, as Coach said, Fresno's a great team, but you obviously have Georgia and Washington and F1 sandwich in between. How important was it to keep up the momentum, and how do you carry that into tomorrow?
It's so important. I think that last night was really big for us as a team, and I think it's really easy to be on a high on a Friday night, and then you wake up the next morning and it's we have to play another game today. We got to refocus. But I think that moving into tomorrow, we're just going to keep focusing on what we can control. We know Washington's a good team, but we know we're also a really good team. So just keeping ourselves grounded and sticking to our systems.
So Jessica, with the youth of your team, how important was that to be able to see them go through that tonight?
Yeah, we're a young team. We rely on so many young players, right? Not like everyone is a freshman or a sophomore, but we rely on young players to score for us, and so finding adversity and battling through it and overcoming it is the best way to build confidence, right? So the next time we're in a 5-set match, which is going to happen, right? We can kind of look back at last night. The next time we're up 2-0 against somebody and we need to close it out, which is going to happen, we can look at today and say, I don't want to be at 20-20 with this team, right? You know, and so that's part of being a player and a young player. You have to go through it. You can't just like listen to a coach talk about it. You have to actually do it. So it's good for us to do it and come out with a positive result.
Sydney, I'm going to pepper you with 2 questions. First one is, it's a lot of fun watching you. For us, how would you assess your game? How would you assess your game right now from your perspective?
Yeah, you know, I think that I'm kind of just taking things one day at a time. I mean, obviously, I feel good about this weekend. I feel good about what our team has done this weekend. But honestly, I just want to build every day and kind of add something new to my game in game time situations every single day. And so that's kind of what I'm focused on. And it's about the team, so I'm excited to see what we have in store.
You talk about the Taylor Simpson set, either or just being set by Taylor. Like, how's that developing for you? And what is she? How is she compared to maybe you played with her before?
Yeah, I mean, I love Taylor. Like, I think that we have a really, really, really good connection. I feel like I know when I'm getting the ball. Like, it's kind of like a mental thing. Like, we have a really good chemistry on the court. And I mean, look, Taylor's the best setter that I've ever been set by. Never had a setter as good as her in club. Never had a setter as good as her probably anywhere. So I think that she's phenomenal. I think that she's a really, really big part of our success.
Can you talk about the tension in the last few moments of the game and how that impacted your gameplay personally, and what it felt like to get a win out of those really close few points?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you're put under pressure, obviously things get harder, but I mean, we put ourselves under pressure in practice every day. We know how to handle those situations, and I think that, like Coach Jesse said, like, it's important that we are able to prove to ourselves that we can handle those pressure situations, which I think is what we did tonight. And there's always things we can build on. There's always we can get a lot better from that game, but it feels good to sweep.
Quick turnaround with playing tomorrow at 1:30. What's something you're focusing on between now and then?
Rest, recovery, hydration. I mean, they've heard this a billion times. Yeah. Sleep, you know. We're not going to have an opportunity to, I mean, we'll have a film session, but we're not going to have a walkthrough. We're not going to jump. Like, we need to be fresh physically tomorrow. You know, part of these tournaments is you have to go from game plan to game plan to game plan. And, you know, we're going to get better at that. We had a good game plan that we didn't always execute today, and we'll have a game plan for Washington that we'll need to execute tomorrow.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go Buffs.